Hey everybody, how's it going? Nobody's here yet, but I'm working on it. Alright, so I've got my Reface here. This is going to be a very interesting thing. I'm going to see if this... There we are. Alright. Let's see if this works. We're going to try to do a lesson. There we go. Okay, so I see now you guys. And this is, so I'm on the road right now. I'm actually in Leeds. So it's 1:37 a.m. here. And hey, what's up? Matthias, is that how you say your name? Yeah, it's 1:37 a.m. here. I didn't really feel like going to sleep, and I thought I might just get on the horn here and see if you guys have any questions that you want answered. We could have a little fun. I just have my Yamaha Reface here. It's got the little speakers on the side, so you'll be able to hear me. Hopefully I don't wake anybody else up in my hotel room here. It's just literally just in the middle of Leeds here. I'll show you. This is my room. Just hanging out here, about to play a festival tomorrow. Playing over at, what's it called? Leeds Festival. Let's get this fixed, sorry. There we go. Okay guys, so yeah, anybody have any questions? You can type them in the live chat. I'm watching you do the live chat. Maybe I'll start talking about, I know we've been doing these videos on 7th chords and triads and 9th chords. There's one on 13th chords that's going to be released, I think, in a couple days. Maybe you guys have some questions about those? Ah, playing swing music. Okay. Yes, listen to Oscar Peterson. Well, actually, let's go back even further than Oscar Peterson. Listen to Count Basie. If you want to, what are you trying to do with swing music? Maybe you can elaborate on specifically like what you're trying to get better at. But if you're trying to swing, then there are a few people to check out. One is Count Basie, and the other is Oscar Peterson. Count Basie was obviously way before Oscar Peterson. Count Basie was like ruling the swing era with his big band, but then Oscar Peterson perfected it on piano. Yeah, and I would just check out, do a ton of listening. In fact, Oscar Peterson has a really great album where he does the Cole Porter Songbook. That's one of my favorites. Okay, improvising in the right hand, like... that sort of thing. So swing, being able to swing, the first thing that you have to focus on is playing very simple things. So be able to swing on one note first. Like you'll listen to Oscar Peterson and he will, well yeah, I do it effortlessly now, but it took a lot of practice to get there. So if you want to start learning swing in that way, do it slowly. So take your metronome. I'm using my phone to record this, so I can't have a metronome right now. But if your metronome is like started at 80 beats per minute, so like maybe it'd be like that. That's about 80. Maybe that's more like 60. And be able to just do a swing beat. Obviously, a swing rhythm by its essence is very similar to just the first note and the last note of a triplet. So if you have three, if you divide a beat into 3 parts, you play the first one and you skip the second one and you play the third one. So it's like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Now, sorry, I'm kind of exhausted, so I'm not doing it perfectly, but that's where you hear like. Like that. But start on just one note. And also, let me take a step back, because it's not exactly that. It's not just a triplet pattern. That's also a misconception that a lot of people have. It's similar to that, but it can be pushed to be less or more than a triplet. What does Nigel say? Swing is slightly off-tempo beats, either falling early or late, creating syncopated polyrhythms. I mean, that's kind of a complicated way of saying it. But more simply put, it's 2 8th notes, and you push the second 8th note back some amount. So it usually lines up like a triplet, but it doesn't have to be a triplet. If this is the quarter note, it could be like da, da da, da da, da da, da da, da da. That's a swing too. Or it could be da 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 da, which is not quite a triplet. So it could be on either side of the triplet. But if you're just starting off, just do it as a triplet. It's a lot easier. So 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, like that. And then, yeah, you're right, Drew, that you have to listen to it. So listen to a ton of Oscar Peterson. But if you want to do if you want an exercise for it, do a blues and get your very basic swing rhythm, which is 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1, like, and do that at every chord change. So that was just the Mixolydian scale, which I have a whole thing on scales if you want to see a previous video that I did on scales. But that's the Mixolydian scale there, and just do it up. And this is an exercise actually that we used to do in my high school jazz band, like, how many years ago? 15 years ago? More than, yeah, something like that. But so you're doing a blues progression, and you're doing a swing rhythm and just a scale, Mixolydian scale going up. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Now that was the start of the blues progression, which is the 1 4 1 1. For those of you who don't know, the blues is 12 bars, and the bars go as follows: 1 4 1 1 4 4 1 1 5 4 1 1. And I know it's sometimes 2 5 1 1 or 1 6 2 5 or 3 6 2 5. It's a lot of different variations, but that's the most simple one that I just showed you. And I might leave this video up so you can watch it again if you want to review that. But when you're doing the exercise, just do go through the chord changes. So 1 4 1. Then you don't need to play the next one, and then again 4 1 2 3 4 1 2. Now 5 to 4 to 1. And you can also do that descending, so you're going like that, and do that through the blues progression, but also, so do that in tandem with listening to Oscar Peterson, and go back to Count Basie, listen to the old recordings, because that's like the swingingest shit in the world, and then play those exercises. But when I practice swing on a more advanced level, for those of you who want to get a little deeper into it, I've done exercises where I set the metronome a little faster, and I start on the 1, only using the 1. So if you're, but still comp with your left hand. So like this, let's just say this is the one that I'm using. just like swinging rhythms on one note. And do that until you can really swing. Yeah, Fi Fi Fo Fum is great. Do that on that note until you're really feeling that swing rhythm and you can do it consistently. And then add one more note. So the exercise would be like this. And I'm just doing a blues progression here. So that was one chorus. Now add one more note. Now add another note. Now add another note. Now add one more note. Now another note. And another note. And then as you add more notes, you can add like some cool, you can twist it more as you add more notes till eventually you're using all 12. And then when you're using all 12, limit yourself to one octave. So then you're practicing this, you're practicing swing only using the 12 notes of the scale in one octave. So then it essentially is like this. You know, and then you can do other cool things. And sometimes actually when I do that exercise, I don't do it the 1 to the 1, I do the 5 to the 5. That limitation makes it a little more, you can enter to the 1 from either direction. It makes it a little easier to like create cool melodies. So then it's like Nigel, which scale are you asking about? What scale was that? Oh, the one that I used for the exercise, the F mixolydian, and then B flat mixolydian, and then F mixolydian, and then eventually C to F. It's just the major scale with a flat 7. So it yeah, it's like a slightly darker than major scale. But that's where you get this tritone. But I was using all sorts of scales when I was improvising here. And that's also kind of a cool thing that limiting yourself to one octave makes you do, is you then have to think about specifically which note choices you're making where you don't have an excuse of just of the same note in a different register. You have to use it all in one register, so it all has to make melodic sense. So if I want to go out in the context of just using these 12 notes, you have to be really specific of where you're going out. because any one of these notes in the Mixolydian scale is not out. You have to use one of the notes that's not, which could be the minor 3, but that's not really out either. So the only two notes, well, really the only two notes that are really out are the flat 2 and the flat 6, but the flat 6 isn't even that out. So really only the flat 2 is out. So how are you going to make something sound out when you could use any note except for the flat 2 and it sounds in? Because I could literally, I could improvise chromatically in this context and it would still not be out. Like, that wasn't out, but I was using every single note, and I actually also used the flat 2. So how do you make it dissonant? You have to actually think of it in a different scale. So that's what you reminded me of when you said, what was that scale again? So if you're in F and you actually think of it in F sharp for a second, see what I did there? I actually took it up a half step. And I laid on that for a little bit, and that's what made it sound like off-center. The cool thing is if you take it up a half step, but then you make it a minor, and you use the major 6 and 7, but with the minor 3, that's when you get all of the what do you call it? Sorry, it's really late here. For those of you who are just joining, by the way, this is Weekly Piano. And, oh wow, my face is going to be really big. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm watching myself as I'm doing this, but there's a big delay. And I'm in London right now. I'm playing Leeds Festival tomorrow with Halsey. And I just have my little Reface CP keyboard, and I'm in a hotel room. So I've decided to do a little live stream for you guys. We have 25 people watching now. Look, 24, somebody got bored. I'm just sort of going through some stuff. So if you have questions, please state them in the chat section here. Anyway, I was kind of just going off about how to lead. Well, so how to play. A cool thing that you can do, and it really makes you think about it when you limit yourself to one octave, is you go out of the scale that you're in. Like, pick the G flat major scale with the minor 3, and then that leads amazingly to the 4 chord, because that has all of the altered tones. That's the word I was looking for. All the altered tones of the F7 scale. You have your flat 9, your sharp 9, you have your 3, but you have your sharp 4, you have your dominant 7, you have your flat 13, so like you're soloing in that scale, and you have to be specific about the scale. What was I just going to say? Sorry, I'm getting distracted. But you use those notes specifically in that scale until you lead to the B flat. And then you're on to B flat. Yeah, and so that's a cool way to like play out, but then also lead to your next chord. You can do that literally with any chord. It doesn't have to be an F. It could be any chord leading to the 5th below. Use that combination of superimpositions, and it'll be really cool going to the next scale. Anyway, all right, I'm going to look at what you are asking now. So you said tips on playing outside with grips in left hand? What does that mean? Oh yeah, I did mix F minor and F major. But yeah, explain what you mean by grips, if you would, Drew. For Robert, I love to do this. Like, if you go back to blues, the history of blues takes the minor and the major 3 and just uses it all the time. There's no, like, You don't have to use one or the other. You know, I'm like using these all the time, just kind of, but I'm using them melodically, because like you're either leading to the 1, or you could lead from the 1 to the 3, to the major 3, or you could lead to the 4, but use them both as passing tones, But you have to make sure you're thinking melodically in all of the context when you're using this. But definitely use both the major and the minor 3 when you're improvising, especially over a blues. Chordal voicing is grips, like this. Yeah. Yeah, McCoy Tyner did that, but McCoy Tyner also, like... So, let me give you a brief history of McCoy Tyner. McCoy started playing traditionally, basically bebop music. He would do a lot of closures, like that. Like you hear a lot of pianists do of that era. When he was playing with Coltrane, he used what Coltrane was doing, Coltrane was using the circle of fifths in a very specific melodic way, which there are books written about it that you can read. I won't explain it right now. Then he took what Coltrane was doing and built a world of that for piano. He built how to comp for Coltrane and how to use Coltrane's ideas on the piano, which involved a lot of fourth voicings in the left hand and a lot of chordal moving in the right hand. Which essentially is using the minor pentatonic scale a lot of the time, sometimes major pentatonic, but more often minor, because there are just a lot of fourths in there, and I guess you use the 2 as well, so it's not exactly minor pentatonic, not exactly pentatonic, but a lot. It ends up laying on the piano as mostly pentatonic. When I say pentatonic, I mean 5 notes in the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it repeats. And I'm working in F right now. So he would be using fourths in the left hand, which if you're comping an F minor, you use any of these combinations, which are mostly fourths. This is a good comping. This is a good comping. This is a good one. There's a tritone and a fourth. Then you go back to the fourth, 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 tritone and fourth, fourth, and you can move around any given scale. This is using the Dorian scale for comping. Like, that. I hope I didn't just... I heard something just now. Hope that wasn't like a pounding on the wall. I am in a hotel room and it's 2 a.m. in the morning. Anyway, so oh, thank you, El Atamuni. Oh yeah, I remember you from a different live session. Anyway, this is the chordal comping on the left hand. Sorry, I'm a little distracted now. But then, as he developed that, he also developed ways of moving around the scale. And it didn't start out as playing that was out. It actually started still in. What he was creating was, he started with using some traditional things, which I've gone into in some of these videos, which are, for example, how to go from C7 to F, which is using something like a D flat minor scale over the C. Right? So you so how do I explain this? The actual scale is D flat minor with a major 6 and 7. Right? And then going to the F minor or dominant or whatever. But that's like 1 degree of separation, right, from the F. It's just using all the passing tones of C. I mean, all the altered tones. Sorry, it's really late here. Okay, but now what McCoy Tyner did was he thought to himself, how can I get there? I want to go there from somewhere else. Am I going to do a C minor? Probably not, because then that doesn't sound like you're going anywhere. It sounds like it's already resolved. Maybe a B minor. That sounds like it doesn't belong there. So if you are here on C7 and you go B minor, and then you go D flat minor, and then you resolve, then you have moved from, you've chromatically planed from this to this to your resolution. And you can also do it from above. You could go E flat minor to D flat minor to F. And that's how McCoy Tyner's way of moving around developed, because then you can get there in any method of chromatic planing. You could be doing, like, instead of going straight from B, you want to go from A or from G. So and you don't have to just do it could be any number of melodies that lay within that set of notes. So you could be like, it could be that, or it could be on B, or A, or G. So then you end up starting on G and you chromatically plane up in whole steps. Does that sound familiar? It probably does, because it starts to sound like McCoy Tyner then. If you're on your C7, I'm not doing it right, but I gotta do it slowly. And that's a very simple example. It could be like from G minor to B flat to A to C to B to D flat to C augmented, and then to F. So you get there from any of those ways. But what that eventually turned into was using these simple ideas in like 5-note chunks that could be just generally out. So if you're like soloing an F, now you can think of it in like over a C scale to. Wait, hold on 1 second. Make sure I'm not waking anybody up here. Okay, so you can do it over a C scale. So all I did was at that point was go down in whole steps. And then you can land back on your F minor chord. And sometimes to get there, you also can take this left hand and maybe move it up a half step, so it designates that you're going out of key, and now you're like... That's sort of how you do it. Yeah, it's not rocket science. Definitely does need some practice. I could also do a more in-depth lesson on this at some point. Guys, I think I probably need to go because it is really, really late here. And I have a distinct feeling somebody might have been actually banging on one of my walls from a different hotel room. So I think I'm going to stop risking bothering people, because yeah, it's 2:07 a.m. in Leeds, for those of you who didn't see. Just ignore that ignorant fool. I know, man, I could tell you about some stories that I've had about people not liking my practicing in a different room when I was in an apartment or a hotel or whatever. Oh yeah, and definitely I recommend the Reface. This thing is incredible. I'm using the CP, which is the it's got all of these effects and stuff, and then it's got some great Rhodes sound and whirly and clav. It's also got a piano sound that's kind of hidden in there that you're not supposed to use because they were just using it for testing, but there's a way to bring it out. Oh, where can you see me in full action? Well, I don't normally publicize my actual thing on here, but if you insist and you're in Los Angeles, actually, just look up the name, Greg Spiro. My group is Rhythmic, but I'll probably delete that part from this, so only the live stream people can actually see that and hear about it. But I'm playing in LA on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of September with my band Rhythmic. So maybe some of you guys can come out. And yeah, if you do go to I do have a YouTube channel with performance stuff. It's GNS134. So youtube.com/GNS134. Or just look up Greg Spiro. You'll see. Yeah, cool. Anyway, thanks guys. I'm tired. I'm sure the people that I've been keeping up are tired, so I'm gonna go. And oh yeah, you saw the Jazzy Radiohead stuff. Cool. Alright guys, well thank you, and I will try to do this again, and yeah, share it and let other people know if you do want me to continue. Alright, thanks guys, talk to you later, bye.